Shalom. I want to give all the praise and all the glory unto Yahawah, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rikah Kodash. Double honors goes out to the elder apostles of Great Millstone for teaching me this truth. Also want to acknowledge all the Akyam who are pushing this truth with sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth. Okay. So shalom to the elect. I'm going to go in on Matthew, the 23rd chapter. And it reads, it says, Then spake Yahawah to the multitude and to his disciples, saying, The scribes and the Pharisees sit in Moses' seat. All therefore whatsoever they bid you observe, that observe and do, but do not ye after their works, for they say and do not. Alright, so the thing is, during the time when Yahawah was walking the earth, you had, our people were, listening to these scribes and Pharisees, just like you do now. You have our people listening to the modern day scribes and Pharisees would be these pastors in these modern Christian churches, or these priests in these Catholic churches, these false prophets teaching, falsely teaching, right? False teachers. So just like in our time, they had that in Yahawah's time. He was, when Yahawah walked the earth, he was going against the church, just like the modern prophets, of Israel. We're teaching you a different doctrine because they teach lies and we give you truth. So, the same thing, no new thing under the sun. We're going against the churches, the modern churches today, and their false doctrines. All right. It says, that's why he says, do ye not after their works, right? For they say and do not. Verse 4, for they bind heavy burdens and grievous to be borne, and lay them on men's shoulders, but they themselves will not move them with one of their fingers. But all their works they do for to be seen of men. They make broad their phylacteries and enlarge the borders of their garments. All right? So you got men who are out there. You have men who are out here, like these Israelites. They'll be walking around with their fringes all day long. Brothers will be out there with fringes and garments and not even teaching on the streets, but they'll walk around for the intention. They want people to ask and say, they see them wearing their fringes. They're wearing fringes on t-shirts, you see. And we wear our fringes on our garments, but our garments are down to our foot. And why is that? Is because that's how Yahawah, that's what he wore. He wore a garment down to his foot. See? You got Israelites who are out there, wearing these garments, or they'll wear a t-shirt with fringes. And that's not biblical. As it shows, I'll show you in Revelation, Yahawah, he had a garment, but his garment was down to his foot. All right, let's see. Let's get it. Revelation 1:13, it says, And in the midst of the 7 candlesticks, one like unto the Son of Man, clothed with a garment down to the foot, and girt about the paps with a golden girdle. And his hairs were white I'm going to stop right there. The point is it says, clothed with a garment down to the foot. So you have guys, like I say, who wear these garments, or that they wear a t-shirt with fringes, Yahweh Shai, he was wearing a garment down to his foot. All right. They wear those garments to be seen of men, right? Or they'll wear a T-shirt, like I say, with the fringes, and it's just so they can get a reaction, because it's all about, they want to be seen by men, like it says in verse 5 here. Verse 6, and love the uppermost rooms and feasts, or at feasts, and cheap seats in the synagogues. You see? It's all about just being seen by men and being, looked at as highly, or being highly exalted in the sight of men, but not Yahawah, you see? Verse 7, and greetings in the markets, and to be called of men, Rabbi, Rabbi. See, they want to be called Rabbi, that which Rabbi means teacher, So, these false prophets, these false teachers, they're doing all for vanity. They're not doing it for the, the exhortation of, the brotherhood, or the your worshiping of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. No, they're trying to, set themselves up in a sense to be worshipped. Verse 8, but be not ye called Rabbi, for one is your master, even Hamashiach, and all ye are brethren. And call no man your father upon the earth, for one is your Father which is in heaven. All right, so this is a violation that the Catholics do. They call the priest father, right? So Matthew 23:9, it tells you right here, we're not supposed to call, a man father. See? Verse 10, neither be ye called masters, for one is your master, even Hamashiach. All right, because there's order, right? The order is Yahawah, Yahweh Shai, the man, and the woman. And that's the order, all right? And we're supposed to be humble teachers. We're not calling, none of the brothers, we don't call them master, right? Even the elders, we call them the elders, the apostles of Great Millstone. We don't call them master. Verse 11, but he that is greatest among you shall be your servant. And whosoever shall exalt himself shall be abased, and he that shall humble himself shall be exalted. See, so it's better to be in this thing humble, instead of exalting yourself, making yourself like you. Perfect example is Bishop Nathaniel. Right, he went into the IUIC schools, and he was pissed off because they didn't have his pictures on the wall. So that's not a humble spirit. He's trying to exalt himself, and Yahweh Bashem Yahushua is going to humble him in the long run. And really, he has in a few different occasions. When Bishop Nathaniel was sick, they said that he called on the name of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, but yeah, he's still not teaching those names. You see, verse 13. But woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! For ye shut up the kingdom of heaven against men, for ye neither go in yourselves, neither suffer ye them that are entering to go in. See, so when you're teaching the doctrine incorrectly, or you don't have sound doctrine, if you're a leader, so-called leader in the church, you're basically keeping men from the kingdom, right? Because you're teaching them to sin. When you're teaching them, oh, go ahead and take the charagma, right? Or you're teaching them, you don't have to say the correct names. You're basically, you're shutting up the kingdom of heaven to your congregation by teaching them lies and unsound doctrine, right? Verse 14, woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! For ye devour widows' houses, and for a pretense make long prayer. Therefore ye shall receive the greater damnation. Right? A lot of this is motivated by wickedness, because these men will go into these widows' houses, which are women who have lost their husbands, and they go in there acting godly. They'll might say a prayer, a long ass prayer, but it's all in vanity, right? Because they're doing it, just for show. They're not doing it out of sincerity, right? They're not doing it correctly with sound doctrine. Instead, they make a show of men, and people are easily deceived, especially women, right? So, verse 15. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for ye compass sea and land to make one proselyte. And when he is made, ye make him twofold more the child of hell than yourselves, right? And a proselyte is somebody who's converted, right? So basically, you got a lot, like, what do you call it? The IUIC, they travel. They go to different countries, different continents, teaching the scripture. But again, they're not teaching the full truth. They're not teaching the names. They're telling you can go ahead and get jabbed up. They're telling you can go ahead and take the micro C-hip, And then where are they going? All over the world to do this stuff, right? They're teaching in Africa. You got IUIC doing that. So that's why I say, for ye compass sea and land to make one proselyte. But you're going to cause those men of the congregation that are in your congregation to stumble, right? Verse 16, woe unto you, ye blind guides, which say, whosoever shall swear by the temple, it is nothing, but whosoever shall swear by the gold of the temple, he is a debtor, right? So constantly, teaching, unsound doctrine, teaching lies. Verse 17, ye fools and blind, for whether is greater the gold or the temple that sanctifieth the gold, right? And remember, the temple is the men, the church is the men. So the men are greater than the gold, right? Verse 18, and whosoever shall swear by the altar, it is nothing, but whosoever sweareth by the gift that is upon it, he is guilty. See? And the gift is this truth, is this knowledge. And if you're not teaching it, you're not teaching correctly, you're leading the congregation to death, then you're going to be guilty. Verse 19, ye fools and blind, for whether it is greater the gift or the altar that sanctifieth the gift. Whoso therefore shall swear by the altar sweareth by it, and by all things thereon. And whoso shall swear by the temple sweareth by it, and by him that dwelleth therein. And he that shall swear by heaven sweareth by the throne of the Most High, and by him that sitteth thereon. Right? We're not supposed to swear on any of that stuff, right? It's wickedness. Woe, verse 23, woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for ye pay tithe of mint and anise, and cumin, and have omitted the weightier matters of the law, judgment, mercy, and faith. These ought ye to have done, and not to leave the other undone. See? So they'll pay the tithe with the mint and the anise and the cumin. That's how they did it in the times of Rome. But they omit the judgment. They don't teach judgment. They don't teach the true mercy. They don't teach the true faith. We're supposed to have faith in those names, right? Those names brings mercy on our people. They don't teach judgments, right? When you think about it, IUIC is really a glorified modern Christian church. These ought ye to have done, and not to leave the other undone. Ye blind guides, which strain at a gnat and swallow a camel. All right, a lot of these men, they strain on the simple things, like the names, is an example, but yet they want to take on the deep dark sayings. When they're you're straining at a gnat, meaning you're straining at something basic in this truth, like the name. We should know the name, especially for the Israelites. They want to sit here and say the names aren't important, and they're straining on that gnat, and meanwhile they're trying to swallow a camel, which is something, with more meat, understanding a dark saying or a dark sentence. You see, stick to the milk before you try to swallow the meat, basically. Verse 25, woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you make clean the outside of the cup and of the platter, but within they are full of extortion and excess. You see? So you're trying to be righteous on the outside, but the inside of that congregation is wickedness. The IUIC, they mix the church with they allow women in their schools, right? And whenever you have women in the church, you're going to have adultery following behind. You see, even at One West, our elders speak on that, how there was lots of women being whores up in the One West when they were allowing the women to be in the school. It brought wickedness. It brought corruption. It brought adultery. You see. That's why the women, and it was Apostle Tahar's decision to remove the women, and basically where they didn't allow women to be in the church. That's why you look at our camps, and you don't see women in the camps of GMS. Like Elder Apostle Tahar says, he jokingly says it, but she's being it's truthful. He says, hey, don't bring your woman to the camp. Verse 26. Though blind Pharisee, cleanse first that which is within the cup and the platter, that the outside of them may be clean also. Right? Start out from the inside of the congregation, then worry about the outside, right? Meaning examine yourselves, Verse 27, woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for ye are like unto whited scripts or sepulchres, which indeed appear beautiful outward, but are within full of dead men's bones and of all uncleanness. Right? So it's not about what it looks like from the outside. It's what it looks like, what it really is on the inside. You see? We don't have a beautiful building, or we go and teach. Oh, we're humbly teaching on the street corners. But you see, it's not the outside that matters. It's what's inside. It's the doctrine we push, right? We keep 100% truth at GMS. You see? Verse 28. Even so ye also outwardly appear righteous unto men, but within ye are full of hypocrisy and iniquity. You can't judge a book by its cover, right? If you were an outsider and you come into this truth and this knowledge, and you witness, one of the glorified schools of the IUIC, and then you look at the humble setup that GMS does. We're just wearing sackcloth, our garments, out on the street corners preaching. A lot of people will stumble at that. They'll be like, oh, well, these guys, they have a nice building, or they have, nice garments. These guys' garments are all nice, and they're stumbling, right? They're looking at the outward appearance of the church instead of what's really being taught, or really just the truth, right? So somebody from the outside will be like, oh, you know what? These men must have the truth. They have a nice building. These men, they don't have anything. They're just out on the street corner. So you see, they stumble at that. Outwardly, they think those guys are the righteous men. But they don't realize that, hey, the true men of Yahawah Bashem Yahushai are in a humble setup. Just like in Isaiah 53, it tells you about Yahawah Shai that he wasn't desirable, right? Isaiah 53. Let's get it. Verse Isaiah 53:2. For he shall grow up before him as a tender plant, and as a root out of a dry ground. He hath no form, nor comeliness, and when we shall see him, there is no beauty that we should desire him. He is despised and rejected of men, a man of sorrows and acquainted with grief, and we hid it as it were our faces from him. He was despised, and we esteemed him not. We're talking about Yahawah, right? He was a stumbling block. The people, his own people, the Jews of that time, were the ones who were calling for his death, who were calling for him to be put on that cross, right? They didn't desire him. They rejected him. He was a man of sorrows in their eyes. So they were like, oh, he's a man of sorrows. There's no way that he could be the Messiah, right? Because he's a man of sorrows. He's suffering. They're like, how could that be the Messiah? See, because they don't know Ecclesiastes 1:18. It says, for in much wisdom is much grief, and he that increaseth knowledge increaseth sorrow, right? So they think if we're suffering or if we're being persecuted by men, they think, oh, these men couldn't be the prophets of Yahawah B'Shem Yahushai. But they don't understand that the prophets of Yahawah B'Shem Yahushai are going to be filled with sorrows, just like our master Yahushai. You see? Because why? Because the wisdom and the grief, well, the wisdom brings forth grief. The wisdom we increase, and knowledge increases sorrow. Right? So men are looking for, oh, well, these guys, they're looking at a pastor or preacher that has riches and has like I say, a nice church, or he's wearing a 3-piece suit. They're not looking at humble men on a street corner. They stumble at that. They would be like, oh, this guy's got a nice building. His church is full of people. And it's a stumbling block, right? Because the earth, the people on earth, they look at this as a, from the outward appearance, not, instead of looking at it from, the way Yahawah B'Shem Yahushai views things, which would be from a humble standpoint. Yahushai, he searches the heart and the mind. He's not worried about the outward appearance, you see? So, continuing on. It's lucky I'm over here at work, so trying to get this lesson finished. But this is Matthew 23, and I'm at, where am I at? Verse 26. Thou blind Pharisee, cleanse first that which is within the cup and platter, that the outside of them may be clean also. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for ye are like unto whited sepulchres, which indeed appear beautiful outward, but are within full of dead men's bones and of all uncleanness, right? You could have the nicest church and the most people in your congregation, but yet that doesn't make your church righteous. It doesn't make, you're looking around at all these modern churches in Babylon, America. Some of these churches are massive. You go inside, they're beautiful churches, right? But they don't teach the truth. They're beautiful outward, but within they're like dead men's bones. And really that's what they have inside them, are dead men walking, basically. Because hell enlargeth herself, right? Hell enlarges herself in all those churches which are not teaching you, sound doctrine. Verse 29. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, because ye build the tombs of the prophets and garnish the sepulchres of the righteous. You see? So the prophets were literally stumbling blocks. We look at us, they're like, these men cannot, there's no way these men could be the men of Yahawah B'Shem Yahushai, right? Even our women, a lot of brothers in this truth, we deal with women, and our women, this truth pisses them off, right? That you go to camp, they become insecure because other women are talking to you or asking questions on the YouTube or at the camp, and it causes these women to be out of order. Where you get home to them, and they're pissed off at you, talking shit, saying, "Oh, why were you talking to those women at the camp today?" Because they see you on YouTube teaching, right? So again, it's just the prophets are a stumbling block. Verse 30, and say, if we had been in the days of our fathers, we would not have been partakers with them in the blood of the prophets. Wherefore ye be witness unto yourselves that ye are the sons of them which killed the prophets. You see, because of the regeneration, hey, those wicked souls, when you're regenerated, your soul's still wicked, right? So you people who are persecuting the prophets now, coming against the Lord's men now, you're the same wicked souls that were, killing the prophets in the ancient times. You had the same wicked soul, and you had the same spirit of coming against the true men of the Lord. And a lot of the prophets were killed because of wicked Israelites, you see. Verse 32, fill ye up then the measure of your fathers, ye serpents, ye generation of vipers. How can ye escape the damnation of hell? You see? And that's what this is. The serpent is likened unto the it's a metaphor, parable for the Edomite, the so-called white man. And what you have in Babylon America is you have a lot of Israelites who are so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans following in the mindset and the spirit. They're in the same spirit of an Edomite, so they become serpents and vipers, right? A viper is another type of snake. So these Israelites, a lot of them are just snakes in the grass, Verse 34, wherefore, behold, I send unto you prophets and wise men and scribes, and some of ye shall kill and crucify, and some of them shall ye scourge in your synagogues and persecute them from city to city. You see, so this is Yahawah telling us, hey, there's going to be a time, just like in his time, where the prophets were scolded and persecuted. They're going to do the same thing to us. They're already doing it, right? They're telling us, the majority of the people come against the prophets because, we're set up to come against many nations and many people, and as it is written, you see. Let me get that scripture real quick. It's let me see. I think it's in Jeremiah, but let me look it up. Let me see. Yeah, Jeremiah 28 and 28. Because you see, to be a prophet, you have to have thick skin, man. Because when it comes down to it, you're basically going against the grain, and you can't be soft or you can't be, wavering. And you've got to be steadfast, meaning firm in your stance. You see, Jeremiah 28 and 8 tells you right here, the prophets that have been before me and before thee of old prophesied both against many countries and against great kingdoms, of war and of evil and of pestilence. You see? So the key word is against. When we prophesy here, we're prophesying against kingdoms, great kingdoms. What's the great kingdom? Right now it's Babylon America, This could be the greatest kingdom, the greatest nation in the history of mankind, but guess who's prophesying against it? It's the prophets, the true prophets of Yahawah Bashem Yahushai. That's another reason why we're a stumbling block, because people say, oh, well, if you were a true prophet, you would be prophesying for America, not against it. You see? So the Lord, hey, the way He sets things up is cold-blooded, man. He's gonna make it to where the minority are the elect, and the majority is gonna be the wicked and the 2/3. You see? Verse 34, Matthew 23 and 34, it says, "Wherefore, behold, I send unto you prophets and wise men and scribes, and some of them ye shall kill and crucify, and some of them ye shall scourge in your synagogues and persecute them from city to city." And why will they want to do that? Because we're prophesying against their kingdoms. We're prophesying against many countries, against many nations, against many kingdoms. All right? Verse 35, "That upon you may come all the righteous blood shed upon the earth, from the blood of the righteous Abel unto the blood of Zacharias, son of Barachias, whom ye slew between the temple and the altar." Right? Because that's one of the things with the true prophets. Prophets in every generation basically get put to death by the heathen and the 2/3. Even now, the prophecy in Revelation, John the Revelator, he saw the prophets getting their heads decapitated. You see, for the testimony of this truth. So that's going to happen here in Babylon, America. You see, we know that certain prophets, even though it's going to be rare, the scriptures tells you rare is the death of the saints, meaning precious, or it says precious is the death of the saints. So it's going to be a rare thing in these last days, but you are going to have some of us who will be put to death on behalf of our testimony. All right? Verse 36, "Verily I say unto you, all these things shall come upon this generation. O Jerusalem, Jerusalem, thou that killest the prophets and stonest them which are sent unto thee." Right? Because Yahawah B'Shem Yahshua, they set us up to teach you and feed you with knowledge and understanding, like it tells you in Jeremiah 3 and 15, right? "And I will give you pastors according to mine heart, which is mind, according to my mind, which shall feed you with knowledge and understanding." But you people are so wicked, even though Yahawah B'Shem Yahshua has set up the prophets, you're going to put us to death. You're going to put some of us to death. You see? That's why it says, "Oh, Jerusalem, Jerusalem," meaning that's talking about Israel, the nation of Israel. It says, "Thou that killest the prophets and stonest them which are sent unto thee." See, we've been sent to teach you this knowledge and this truth according to knowledge and understanding, but you reject the knowledge, right? Like it tells you in Hosea 4 and 6, our people reject knowledge, so therefore they become no priest to Yahawah B'Shem Yahushai, and instead they have the mindset where they want to kill the Lord's men, right? "How often would I have gathered thy children together, even as a hen gathereth her chickens under her wings, and ye would not," right? Because they want to come against the prophets. The majority of the people on earth are they're against the prophets. They're against the men who are teaching this truth. All right? Verse 38, "Behold, your house is left unto you desolate. For I say unto you, ye shall not see me henceforth, till ye shall say, Blessed is he that cometh in the name of Yahawah." See? So, at the end of the day, hey, Yahushua told him right here, he said, "Hey, you're not even gonna see me. You're not even gonna be blessed until you come in these true names of Yahawah B'Shem Yahushai. You come into the fold of Yahawah B'Shem Yahushai, then you're gonna be blessed. All right." And the prophecy says that 1/3 of our people will receive this truth, will receive the teaching of the true prophets. But 2/3, like we always tell you, is destined to damnation, is destined to hell, is destined to destruction, right? The lake of fire, which is literally Babylon the Great burning, from thermonuclear war. All right? Only a minority, which is 1/3 of our people, are going to actually receive the prophets and receive this truth. All right? So I'm going to go ahead and close out with that. I want to give all praise and all the glory unto Yahawah, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rikah HaKadosh. Double honors goes out to the elder apostles of Great Millstone for teaching us this truth. Also, I want to acknowledge all the Akim who are pushing this truth with sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth. Shalom to the elect of the nation of Israel. Shalom.